Action.
Welcome to episode 1 of my podcast. The goal of this podcast is to bring on people that I know through my social media agency that are inspirational, motivational, and just have a unique story. So the first person I had to bring on the podcast is Ashleigh Wilson. So Ashleigh, say hello to everyone, and very quickly, tell everyone briefly, if you were at a networking event, what do you do?
So I help people become real estate investors. I teach them about financial literacy, how to find properties, where to find properties, how to analyze good or bad deals, how to exit out of deals. So all about financial literacy and real estate. Awesome.
So last night I actually called Ashleigh's mom. A couple of days ago I said, tell me someone that I can reach out to kind of learn a little bit more about you, because Ashleigh and I have worked together for 1 month, but the reality is I don't really know you too well.
Right.
So I got some questions here, and what we're going to kind of do is go through your life story and what led you to this moment. So when I talked to your mom, she said you were a leader from a very early age. And the first question I have for you is, do you think right now school is good for kids to learn at the pace they need, or is there something else that's needed right now?
No, it's not good for them. Like, it's so much more needed. I definitely think financial literacy should be in all schools. I mean, starting at least in maybe middle school.
Yeah.
Because kids don't know about having good credit. So once they graduate college, or not even college, but high school, they don't know what a credit card is, how to use a credit card, how to even get a credit card. So we need to teach them about financial literacy, banking. Kids don't know how to get a bank account when they graduate high school.
Yeah, what was your experience like with that? Like when you were growing up, let's say kind of middle school, high school age, like what was your financial literacy?
I knew I needed to have good credit, right? I didn't know how to get good credit. I didn't know what good credit was. But I always heard if somebody wanted to get a car, like everybody around me would try to find somebody to co-sign or ask somebody else, like an older aunt or grandparent, can they get them a car because their credit was bad.
Okay.
So that instilled in me, like, I need to have good credit so I don't have to ask somebody to co-sign for me.
Fair. So they always had to know someone.
They had to know someone, and then people would always tell them no. So they would end up having to get like a buy here, pay your car, because they couldn't go to the car dealership and get finance because their credit was bad.
Yeah. So like what age were you at when you think you were like, okay, I know this is just something I need to do, and you actually were like, I'm going to take action and start learning from someone?
Well, I didn't start learning until after high school when I went to college. So that's one of the reasons why I do promote kids going to college, because I learned a lot. It opened my mind up to like a whole nother world, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know how to fix my credit other than listening to the TV and hearing the Lexington Law commercial. So that's who I went to. I called Lexington Law to start getting my credit fixed because I heard the commercial, call will help you fix your credit. And they did help me a little bit, but not enough. So I had to start researching and getting some free Facebook groups and just meeting other people to figure out how can I fix my own credit. And that's what I did. And that's how I got into the credit repair space, by fixing my own credit, posting on Facebook about my results because I was proud of it. And people start asking me like, well, can you help me do mine? And it turned into a business.
So you didn't have like a parent, an uncle, or someone close to you. You had to kind of go out and get it yourself.
Yes. I helped my mom fix her credit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she mentioned you've helped her a few times.
Right. So, yeah, nobody to help me fix my credit or teach me anything about credit.
Yeah. So the first thing your mom said is Ashleigh's always been a leader. And so like a situation like this, clearly you're the one doing it. Are there a lot of people around you that would say you're a leader too? Like, are you the friend in the group that's always like...
Everybody goes to.
Yeah.
Everybody I know. Literally.
Okay, so this is going to be a kind of hard transition here, but I think it's going to be good to just get real on this podcast. So
yes.
One of the things that I did not know about you till last night was you became a mom at 15.
Mm-hmm.
And so when that happened, I think a lot of people kind of have two routes. They can kind of get really stressed and maybe their life takes a negative turn. But from what your mom told me, this was kind of like a big snapping moment for you to kind of like get everything together. So like, what was that like for you to become a mom at 15?
So it was definitely like going into the unknown, right? But I knew at that point, it was like, God got something good for me. I'm like, it got to be a reason behind this. Like, I got to go be somebody or be something great because, like, he obviously, it's for a reason, right? So, I don't know. I just knew it was something good had to come out of it. And that's why I kind of go so hard in school, because my daughters, they get ready to graduate high school now. So, it's like, I had these girls really young, and I feel like I owed them the world. So, I got to just really make a way for them.
Why do you think you had such a strong faith? Like, you just said it like everyone should have it. Like, oh, like you immediately knew this was a blessing. Like, why do you think it was that way?
I still haven't figured it out yet. It got to just be God with his hands on me. Or just, speaking to me. And I always pray for God to increase my faith, though.
Yeah.
So it got to just be him, like, just put it in me to believe.
And they're both girls, correct?
Yep, 2 girls.
Okay, so do you kind of let them know what's going on in the real estate world, or if you show them an investment property, they're like, Mom, stop talking to me about this?
No, so they act like they're so interested, right? I took them on a few tours, but I feel like they're just fake interested, though.
Like they're just making Mom happy.
Yeah, they just do it to make me happy. Like when I talk, like I'll ask them, like, do y'all want to invest in real estate? And they'll say, yeah, like we're gonna invest in real estate, or we're gonna do this. Like they talk about real estate. I want to buy a mobile home. Can you give me a mobile home? So they act like they're interested, but they haven't made any moves yet.
Yeah.
So I don't want to push it on them, but my goal is to create something by the time they graduate where they can work with me in real estate. Though.
Yeah, and before we were on the air, we were talking about, they're getting close to that college age, and you did go to college and finish college. So, like, what was your experience with college, and now that you're a parent, how do you look at it differently for them?
So I knew I had to get away from my environment. I know I had to leave home and go figure it out because I wasn't going to figure it out there. So the difference, I feel like I'm figuring it out for them. So they don't have to go and figure it out if they don't want to. And that was one of my goals. I knew I had these girls. I didn't want them to have to figure it out like I did. So they're not going to have to figure it out, though. So that's the difference. So if they don't want to go to college, I'm not going to push it on them. Yeah. Because I'm trying to figure it out so they don't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so your college experience, like, tell everyone kind of like, what was your degree and what was your thought of like, I'm going to go to college and then what's going to happen after?
So first I went to the #1 HBCU, FAMU. You know about FAMU?
I don't.
No? You know about Tallahassee, Florida State?
Yeah.
Okay, so FAMU is a historically black university with the Rattlers. And it was fun. Like, I had fun. Well, it took me 9 years to graduate. I got a bachelor's degree. Political science, criminal justice was my studies. And I wanted to be a lawyer and help people, or do something in criminal justice and help people, but nothing in criminal justice made enough money. I didn't feel like going to law school for another 3 or 4 years. So I tried to get a job. I worked at Department of Children and Families.
Okay.
With like an abuse hotline. Yeah. I worked there for like 5 months, and I knew it wasn't for me. So I was just trying, like, after school, let me use my degree, but that didn't work out.
So do you think a big part of you almost like had to justify, I just got this degree, now I have to use it?
Yes, because after graduation, everybody in my family, like my older relatives, kept asking, like, okay, what's next? Like, what are you doing now? You've been out of school. Like, what's next? You haven't got a job yet? Like, what you doing? So I'm like, dang, like, okay, I need to get a job so I can tell them what I'm doing. Like, yeah, I just felt like I needed to be doing something. When I still was figuring it out, but I'm like, okay, let me just get a job so I can tell them, oh, I work for the Department of Children and Families. And my grandma, she's like, you work for the state. So they thought I was doing something good.
Yeah, because it's hard because internally, I don't like what I'm doing, but it sounds really good to someone who has...
It sounded good to everybody. I got so many congratulations, and I was making not even enough to barely make it. Yeah. And everybody was so happy for me.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, for those of you out there watching, I was 1 year away from graduating college, and...
Oh, just 1 year?
I didn't finish. And so a lot of people thought, my whole family basically thought I told them I was crazy. That was the full reaction. But the hard part was, I was working for the university. So I actually worked for Kent State University, and I kind of saw the back end of how a lot of kids would come through. And I would try to make promises when I was talking to the new class of like, this is what college will get you. And there were a few meetings where I'd actually talked to people like the dean of the college where they told me to pull back. Don't be making statements like this. Let them know the experience is what you're allowed to talk about. But after college, we don't talk about that.
And so they know college ain't producing what you were talking about it would produce.
And so what got very difficult for me is I was pushing something that internally I was starting to question. Right. So it got to a point where I was going for marketing. And when you go to school for a marketing degree, like, you're not going to learn anything transparently. Like, you need to join a mastermind online. But what happened was, this would have been February of 2020, so I had a year left, and obviously everyone knows March of 2020 COVID happens. So in that month, I have a class where COVID happens, the teacher has to move back in with their parents because they have a job no more, and I was basically just told, you get an A. And so what I'm thinking in my head is, I just paid $20K to not learn anything. And so very quickly, I kind of had to start wrestling with this idea of, am I doing what everyone else wants me to do, or am I doing what I want myself to do? And what it sounds like you were going through was some of the same thing, but after graduation.
Right, yep. So even, I'm not going to say I was forced to go to school, because I wanted to go to college 100%. I knew after high school, I'm getting away from here, I'm going to college. But I did also feel like I didn't have any other options though. It was just, what was the other it was no other option. So I probably kind of was forced to go to college too because there was nothing else on the table. So that's what I do want to provide for my daughters, like options. Yeah.
And were there any times in college or right afterwards where you had that kind of entrepreneurial bug, but you kind of shoved it down and didn't really think about it?
Yeah, throughout college.
Yeah, a lot?
A lot, yeah. I made a lot of money in college running a business.
Yeah, so I guess I got to ask you, if I were to say I'm interested in a waist shaper, what would your sales pitch be?
For you?
Yeah.
You should definitely get one. You and your girlfriend.
Okay.
Yeah, so you should definitely, because you don't have to really work out with it, right? Drink water, wear the waist shaper at least 6 to 8 times a day, and you really will see a difference. Like they really work.
And this was that your first big come up where you realized like, oh, I can actually do something other than this 9 to 5?
Yes. Well, so I sold the waist shaper before the job, right?
Oh, really?
So yeah, before the job, like I made probably like, I don't know, maybe like $700,000-$800,000 selling waist shapers. That was before the job. That's so.
Oh, so that was hard to go.
Right. Yeah, I had made a lot of money, right? But I spent it all too. So I was in college. I was having fun, right? So, because I actually had to sit out of college too because I flunked out for like a couple semesters. Mm-hmm. I had to pay them to get back in school because I couldn't get financial aid anymore.
Oh, so you had to like come up with your own money.
So I had to come up with like $10,000 to pay to get back in class. So that kept me out for like 3-4 months. And once I did get back in, I only had 2 semesters left. So I'm like, you know what? I'm about to just focus. So I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't running a business. I wasn't working. I'm like, I'm going to just go to school and finish these classes.
Yeah.
So I finished, graduated, and I just needed to get my groove back, right? But I didn't. I was kind of stuck. So I'm like, okay, I've got this degree. Like, let me just try to do the regular thing, not run a business. Let me just get a job.
And what did that feel like? Did you feel kind of stuck?
Yes, I felt so low. Like, and it was bad, though, because going to the job, it was like old people that been there for 30 years. And it was just horrible. So it was depressing every day. Like, every day going there was just depressing. Like, I would cry in the bathroom on my lunch breaks every day for 5 months.
And that wasn't a sign for you? Like,
yes, it was definitely a sign. I would call my mom every day and like, okay, I don't think I can do it today. I think I'm going to leave today. And then other people just be like, no, just stick it out, try to make it work, blah, blah. And let me tell you what did it.
Yeah, what made you quit?
So it was Valentine's Day was coming up. I had a boyfriend at the time. And I asked my supervisor, I'm like, hey, I want to put in to take off for Valentine's weekend. And she was like, you haven't even been here 6 months and it's your second vacation. And I'm like, okay, because I've never had a job. So I'm thinking like, okay, like, what do you mean? Yeah, I'm going on vacation. And she was like, yeah, no, we already let you go on vacation one time. You can't do it again. And I'm like, what? So I really did not comprehend it. So I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever. And I just went on vacation, and I actually went on vacation to LA. Okay. So that was enough. When I went there, I'm like, yeah, I'm never going back to that job again. I just never went back.
Did you even call?
No, but my supervisor emailed me, and she was like, hey, I know you're not coming back. She's like, could you please just send me like a 2 weeks notice or like some kind of
like
email or just because you never know, you may want to come back one day. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I sent her the email. I still never ever went back.
Yeah.
Like never stepped foot in there again.
So what was that transition like then? So obviously you went to LA. I'm guessing you had a good week.
It was just the vibes, like seeing Beverly Hills and on Rodeo. I'm like, yeah, I'm never going back to that job again. So I just made up my mind that day that I'm never going to have a job.
Yeah. Like how important do you think it is for people who, let's say right now, maybe they're making some money on the side or they know what the side hustle is they want to try. I'm a huge believer in you got to put your back against the wall. Like, how do you convince people to actually do it when they really don't have to? Like, you could have stayed at that job transparently.
Right. Yeah. So I just always, if you feel like this isn't for me or I should be doing something else, that's what it is. People don't just feel that way. Because there's lots of people at that job that were happy, they were comfortable, they never thought about quitting or not coming back. So, that's for them, and that's okay. Yeah. But if you feel any little feeling in you that there's more out there for me, or I should be doing better, or I can be doing more, then that's what you should be doing.
Yeah.
So I think people just got to take that leap of faith and just do it.
Yeah, for me, so my moment was, I decided I wasn't going to go to school, and I was working this internship. I think I was making $8.50 an hour, and if I sold a new client, it would be $8.75 an hour.
Okay.
And so, yeah, it was terrible, and I didn't like it, but I was still in school, and what I realized is, if I don't leave that, I'm never going to leave it. Right. So what I actually did, and I've never shared this publicly, is I logged into my school email,
Okay.
and I hit change password, and I went like this, typed it out, hit Command C, looked away, Command V, changed it so that I could never actually log back in.
Wow.
I would have to call the school, I'd have to go through this 3-day process to even get back in. And I did that because I actually had my first client sign up that day.
Okay.
So when I got that first client, I was like, if I don't leave this now, I'm never going to do it.
Right.
And so I kind of had to take that big jump. And I think a lot of people out there would look at that and go, Alex was delusional, that was a crazy emotional thing to do. But when I look back on it, that was what even gave me the freedom the next day to go, I'm all in on my business.
Right. That, like in this moment, you feel like that was you did the right thing, right?
I did, and I didn't tell anyone either.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things where I started getting calls from the university every day. And my girlfriend Katie's looking at me going, she's like, hey, you keep getting a call from this number, are you going to take it?
Wait, did she know you had quit?
I had told her my passions of wanting to quit, but I don't even think I did tell her, to be honest. And then what happened is, so it's like 9 o'clock on a Tuesday night, and your teachers aren't supposed to ever call you. They're supposed to call you through the system. And so I was in this senior level marketing class, and the teacher calls me, and he's pissed. And he's like, listen, you're the only kid in this class who's not doing this assignment for Sherwin-Williams. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Like, I don't plan on finishing it. And he goes, well, I'm going to lose my job if we don't get this research done by insert date. And so then it starts hitting me what's going on behind the scenes here. I'm paying to take a class.
Right.
Kent State is making money from Sherwin paying the
Wow.
students. So it wasn't even like I was working for cheap, like the $8.50 an hour. I was actually paying to work for Sherwin-Williams. And when I realized that,
so you didn't finish the project?
oh, of course not. No, I logged out everything. That day, I told all my classmates, like, here's what you guys are going to have to do, and I was out.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah, and honestly, it was hard, too, because for the next year, you know, every Thanksgiving or Christmas, you basically have to report to your family, what are you doing? And so this was, I think, spring, so I knew I had 5 to 6 months to come up with something impressive, and I didn't have anything. And so Thanksgiving Day comes around, and everyone's asking, Alex, what are you doing when you finishing school? And I think it honestly took until like a year ago where I actually told everyone what I was doing.
Okay, but that's good though.
Yeah, I think there is a period where a lot of people, you need to be to yourself a little bit.
Right.
Like, you need to just understand, like, I'm going to embarrass myself, I'm going to fail, I'm going to take on these weird projects that I'll never share with anyone, but the reality was I had to do that to get here.
Right. Yep. And I think I did that in like the world was watching when I went through my stages of trying. Yes, and but I'm cool with it now.
What do you think was something that you tried that in the moment someone could have been like, Ashleigh is crazy, but you wouldn't be where you are today without it?
Well, even now, I have friends. Like, one of my friends I brought to the last Cleveland trip I did because he thought until the Cleveland trip, he thought I was the craziest person in the world for investing like out of state. He can't believe it. He's like, I would never do that. Like, that's just crazy. And then even worse, he can't believe the distressed properties. He's like, you got some balls. Like, why would you buy? Like, I hear people all the time make posts like, oh, you know, like the cheap houses are just, you need to tear them down and blah, blah, blah. But it's worth it. Yeah. Yeah, so it's worth it. And people don't see that until I'm done, though. Yeah. So during the whole process, they're like, yeah, you need to tear that one down. Like, it's...
Like, they just think you're into hoarder houses or something and you're, like, walking through them?
Right. Or they think I'm just being cheap and I'm not going to make money off of them. They don't see the value.
Interesting.
Right.
So do you think that's a bit less, so like with your social group, do you think there's a lot of people who maybe they have the skill set, they're smarter, maybe they're a little wittier, but they are not doing anything? Because that's something I see all the time. I see a lot of people with all this potential, and I want it for them, but like, how do you deal with that in your social groups?
So one of my main goals is trying to master it so I can bring them with me. Yeah. Because it's like a lot of them, they know I'm smart or whatever. Like, they know I'm going to figure it out, or I'm not just doing anything for nothing. Yeah. But they still need to be convinced. So they're not going to pull away from what they're doing until I can just fully convince them. Does that make sense?
So you think, is it more of a information issue or a faith issue, if you think, with them?
Information. Yeah, it's information. And fear, too. Because, again, most people don't want to invest out of state. They see the distressed properties and they're like, oh no, keep driving.
And what do they think about Ohio of all places? I mean, you're from Florida, right?
Yes.
So, like, what is the thought of, oh, you're buying these houses up in this cold state on the lake?
Why do you keep going up there? Like, my friends ask me that, like, every week. Like, why are you still going up there? I'm like, what? Like, yeah, so they still haven't grasped it yet. Yeah. And I don't try to make them grasp it. But I will eventually, but I'm just doing my thing right now.
And it seems like you have a lot of people who already trust it, and maybe you didn't know them. They found you online.
Hundreds, thousands of people. So, yeah. And I was just having a conversation with one of my friends, like, I guess the people that know you, or you grew up with or whatever, it takes them a little longer to grasp, like, the new you and the new things you're doing.
Yeah.
It's just new. A lot of people don't like new things, so they're just still stuck on the, old stuff, which is cool, but it just takes them a little longer to gravitate to it.
Is that a hard part of evolving for you? Is kind of realizing
Yes.
that, like, the Ashleigh who they may have known, and Ashleigh, it's not they don't love you still, but, like, when you evolve at a way faster pace than people, you do create a social distance.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so, like, how do you handle that? Or do you just kind of have a smaller circle than you used to?
It's actually an issue for me, because it's like I'm still trying to hang over here, but I know I need to be over here.
Yeah.
So it kind of keeps me, I feel like I'm being pulled in, like, two different worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I gotta pull them with me.
Yeah.
Because these are just people I really love, so I'm not going to I can't just get away. But I do need to give myself maybe like 6 months at least to just get away, do everything over here, and then like, okay, y'all, come on.
Yeah, one of the hardest things I had to do when I started my business, and in hindsight, I think I might regret it a little bit, but I actually logged out of all my own social medias.
Wow.
So I did that for a year and 8 months, running a social media company. So I'd be posting for Ashleigh, I'd be posting for Mike and whoever else.
Right.
But the reality was, I knew that for me to go to that next level, I couldn't even take that data in.
Right.
Because a lot of my friends,
Right.
so I'm 25 right now, and at the time I was, let's say, 22, 23. And every close friend I have, I still love them, but their priority was, I need to get bottle service Saturday. It needs to be documented, because if people don't see it, why did I spend money on it? And then deeper, they want to tell the story for 3 weeks until we get back to that party time again.
Another Saturday, yeah. So another, I know.
So you see that?
Every week.
Yeah.
Yes. And then it's even worse because I try to participate in it.
Okay.
So it's like I'm trying to participate in that, but then I got class the next morning, or I got an event that I got to be at, so it's draining. I like cut back a lot. Yeah. But I love my friends. I love being around my friends. So
you still got to be there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's something that I got to grow up from, though.
All right, so I'm going to toss you out crazy content idea one because we're kind of talking about it.
Okay.
So I've seen a lot of these interviews online where people will go up to someone in public and they'll just ask them a random question. So you're going to tell me if this is a content idea you thumbs up or you thumbs down.
Okay.
So you go to the club, let's say it's a Saturday night, and you see a guy, he's throwing a lot of bottle service parties, he's got a full room over there. You walk over, ask him about how many properties does he own. No chance.
But I will say, when I am out in the club, people come to me.
Yeah.
Like, they come to me and like, hey, I'm going to get with you Monday. I need to get a property.
And do they?
No.
Yeah.
No. But every time I'm out, I get that. And I'm just like, all right, cool. Just hit me up.
And how hard is it for you to see them literally throwing down payment 1, down payment 2, down payment 3, where in 10 years, I mean, they could really relax?
Listen, literally just this past weekend, I was in Miami, and I went to a strip club called The Office. You ever heard The Office?
TV show.
Okay, so I went to a strip club in Miami, and I was literally disgusted. And I think after the other night, I was like, this will probably be my last night in a strip club for a long time.
Yeah.
I used to do the same thing, right? So I'm not being a hypocrite, and I get it. Everybody got to go through it. People gonna have their fun. Cool. I love to see people have fun. But now, like, if I would have knew then what I knew now, like, even spending $5,000 in the club, like, you can get a house in Cleveland.
And you see that difference now.
Right. So I was like, I really just couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Like, people still doing this.
So so do you think this could be your 6-month break now?
Yes. Coming into the new year, definitely.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, so mine was a silent one. So I was in a fraternity. I lived that party life where, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, those are your days. And it was hard for me because, like, whenever I went out, it's not like I was, like, one beer out. It's like I'm drinking the whole night. And so the hardest thing that happened for me was I started dating Katie, and we would have movie nights. Okay. And so I picked a Saturday where I actually didn't go out. Everyone thought, I told them I was going to be there. So I just didn't go out. And what happened was the next Sunday, I had 5 of my best friends go, Alex, last night was crazy. I love seeing you out there. And it hit me, no one remembers.
But you weren't even there. Wow, yeah.
And so it was like this freedom moment where I could like sit in the fact that, like, even if I'm not here, everyone who I want to think of me in a good way will still probably think that.
Right, yeah.
So maybe that's a freedom for you.
Definitely. Yes.
That you hit them up the next Sunday morning and they're like, Ashley, it was great seeing you last night. And you go, yeah, you too.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
All right. So this is another interesting one. It's a little bit of a side topic here.
Okay.
But, I work with a lot of, like probably half the clients we have are female. And a struggle I see in a lot of them is they're a powerful female in business, and a lot of men don't know how to act around them. So how do you handle it? And if you don't handle it, just tell us a little bit about it. But what is it like being a high-earning female in 2023 as we head into 2024 with how guys treat you?
So first of all, and this is, I like downplay a lot of things.
Yeah.
So I always kind of like play the bag, really. So I'm never like, making it known or trying to be just flamboyant, right? But I've always, like I said, I've been making money for a long time, honestly. So, and that's what people know me for, right? So maybe I'm used to it, or like it's normal. Like I've always been respected by guys.
Yeah.
Right. Majority of my friends are males.
Yeah.
Too. So that kind of keeps outside guys away from me. Because I'm always with guys, right? So the guys that I'm surrounded by, they're my friends for over 10 years.
Yeah.
So it's always just me and them. So I'm not really kind of in the same space with outside men.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I think socially it does. I'm curious in business though, because I think one of the things that's very interesting for me is like, personally, I struggle with it sometimes. Like even sitting here with you, I was so nervous to do this podcast.
Okay.
So like being here with Ashleigh and even Katie, who is literally life partner, I work with her. There are times where I see her doing well, and some like I don't even know what it is, competitive thing kicks in,
right?
Where it's hard to see someone that's a female doing better than me.
So, and I feel like all men deal with that, or I guess with certain women, right? Yeah. And I tell my friend this all the time. Like a guy, I feel like it can be a guy that I think genuinely loves me, but he has like this wall up because it's like he doesn't know if he's good enough or doing enough, and it kind of creates like a bad thing,
So as a female, like how
I notice it. So.
Yeah. So like how does a guy handle that? So like let's just say he knows, Ashleigh's the real estate queen. I'm not going to compete with her in the finance world. Like how did they still operate to where you feel comfortable?
I think what I would like for men to do is find their own lane and just be a man. Like step up and be a man. Don't even let that come up. Like don't even feel like this is a powerful girl or a girl that has money. Yeah. No, you got to just treat me like a woman.
Still hold the door.
Right, yeah. Still just be a man. Like, take the lead. No matter what. You got to take the lead. Because I will, like, just say, like, move. Like, let me do it. But if that's because if you're, like, can I cuss?
Go for it.
Like, if you're bitching up.
Yeah.
What else am I supposed to do, right? So, I feel like I just want a man to be a man and just take the lead. And, as simple as that. Be a man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, just be a man.
Okay, so here's a big one. I'm seeing this a lot. So I think my age group especially suffers with this, where I think a lot of men they're not doing well right now, straight up.
Right.
And I don't think a lot of people want to talk about it because I think there's a way for both men and women to win. And I think this is a huge thing I'll say first. Me saying men aren't doing well is not saying that I want women to do terribly, like straight up. But the reality is, I think a lot of men don't know how to just step up and do that.
I wonder why, though.
I think there's two sides of it. I think something I see in business a lot, like with my friends. So I have, let's say, a friend group of 10 guys that I talk to on a weekly basis where I'm close with them. I'd say they're my best friends. Okay. There's 2 I can talk to about business. Yeah. And the reality of that is, I think a lot of men don't have the emotional capacity to admit how scary their goals are.
Yes. Or they don't have goals, for one.
Period. Yeah.
Yeah. They don't have goals, for one. That's what it is. It's a fear. Right. And they don't want to admit that. Because I don't think they know that it's a fear. They're afraid. They don't know.
I think it's easy to put the armor on and be like, I'm not into running a business. Right. Like, that's too much for me.
Right, yeah.
And so I think, like, one thing for me that I don't think a lot of dudes know is, like, there are times in business where I'm crying and hyperventilating, and I think the world's going to end right now.
Yep.
And then I wake up the next morning, and everything's normal again.
Right.
But the reality is, to be a business owner or to do whatever that thing is that you actually want to do, you kind of have to accept, like, there might be a day where I am weak, where I have to look at the girl that I care about and say, hey, I can't step up right now.
Men, I don't think I've ever met a man who will do that.
Really?
No, they won't. And I wish they would, because things will be easier. Like, I can help you. Yeah. But, no, they're not going to say, like, I messed up or I made a bad decision. I don't run into them. They won't do it. But I ignore it, though.
Really?
Yeah. I just ignore it because that's too much.
So one of the rules, Katie and I make, 'cause obviously, so we're, boyfriend and girlfriend, but we're also CEO, COO.
Okay.
And so one of the rules we have is business hat, life hat. So that means, like, if I'm struggling, like, sometimes, I do this thing where I go football coach on Katie. She'll be like, this edit isn't done right. And I'm like, listen, we need this edit done right now.
Right.
And she's like, stop, please, don't talk to me like that. Oh. But then there's other times where, she'll realize in me, like, I don't need to be business Alex. She's like, you need to be life Alex.
Okay.
So what will happen is she'll be like, hey, unemotionally, like, how was today? I can be like, today sucked. I felt like a loser. I don't think I'm running this business correctly. I don't think I'm capable.
See, that's good. You could say that.
But I couldn't always. Okay. You have to understand, for like the first 2 years, I would not acknowledge any of it. She'd be like, not at all.
So what made you realize, like, I gotta stop. I gotta start getting it out?
I realized that outside of our romantic relationship, Katie was such an asset to the company that I would rather look like a huge dumbass and keep her in than be right and push her out.
Right. Okay.
Because the reality was, like, I think a lot of times, maybe that's just a luck I had that I was working with her, but there's a moment, and I don't think it's just with life partners, I think it's with anyone, whether they're a client, whether they're a worker for you, where you gotta just admit, like, hey, I fucked this up really bad.
Right. You got to admit that. That's the only way that you're gonna grow from it or be able to fix it or...
And 9 out of 10 times, like, if I think back on the last 3 years running a social media company, anytime, and I have a good friend, Adam, who will always remind me this. Let's say I lose a client, let's say someone's like, hey, we need to start in a couple months, or I didn't get a post out correctly and there's a typo in it. Every time that I've just stepped up and said, I messed up because I didn't check this, or I didn't do this phone call, people will respect it way more. And what actually happens is you get a deeper relationship. Right. But I think one of the things that we've made a rule for in our team, whether you're an editor, whether it's like a VA we work with, or anyone that's like subcontracted in, is if you make an excuse, you're out. Okay. If you offer a solution, you stay.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's a rule where it's basically like, if you messed up, like today, one of our editors literally just slept too late. And so I'm freaking out at 11, like, what happened to this guy? And when he called me, he said, hey, I don't have any excuses. He's like, but I'm going to do these next 3 edits and I don't want to charge for it.
Okay, right.
So we offered a solution. Now, granted, we're still going to pay him and everything, but what the moral of the story, I think, is with a lot of guys, it's hard to just say, yeah, I fucked this up.
It is.
Because we're not trained to do that.
Okay. I get that.
Like, how do you think you would react? Let's say you and a guy are beefing, you got some argument going on, and like, you're heated, and then halfway through it, he goes, hey, Ashley, you know what, I think I'm just wrong.
I would love that. Like, I'm going to hug you. Like, yes.
Fight's over?
Like, yeah, let's fix it now. Now we can fix it.
Yeah.
Because as long as you're sitting there saying, yeah, I don't see the problem, I don't know what I did wrong, we can't move forward from it.
Yeah.
And I hold on to things. So I'm going to hold on to that until you admit that you were wrong.
Yeah.
Because how can we fix it if you're still saying that it didn't happen or it didn't go like that?
So do you think a lot of times that's why maybe in business and stuff it's hard for you to like actually hit the brakes because sometimes you're just holding on to too much?
Yes. I just told my mom I got to learn to let things go and forgive people because I know it's holding me back from just a lot of things in life, right? So I got to let some stuff go. I do.
What do you think your life would look like if you let all that go?
I can't even imagine. Just good, great, better.
Yeah.
Yes. More happy, more joy, yes.
So you think right now if there was like a big thing holding you back, it's just you're holding on to all that?
It's me, yeah. It's only me. Yeah, but I'm trying to figure out how to fix it though. I can't just tell myself that something doesn't bother me when it really does.
Yeah.
You know? So what I think I got to do is just remove everybody, like all the people or places or things that remind me of that situation.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting thing because, like, it's a small move, but we moved from Akron to Cleveland, and I know changing environments is probably one of the biggest things. So, like, you've done that at several points in your life. So, like, what do you, maybe for anyone listening out there who maybe they just need to get out of somewhere to take this step, like, how did you get out of the environments you're in, and how do you continuously do that? 'Cause it's not like you've done it once. Right,
because I'm transitioning right now to move. And I think you just got to do it. I've actually been battling with myself for, like, the past maybe 30 days now. Like, should I make the move or not?
Where are you thinking?
Atlanta.
And why
I like
Atlanta?
It's just so much like black excellence, right?
Yeah.
It's like every black person well, not every black person, but it's just like black people are well to do there, right? Yeah. It's like a majority. Or everywhere I go, it's like black judges, black policemen. I like black culture.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's motivating. Because I don't know if I told you where I'm from. It's country. It's really country.
Okay.
Like, so it's in the middle of nowhere almost. Polk County, in between Orlando and Tampa.
Okay.
Well, you know about Tampa.
I know about
Right.
Tampa, yeah.
So it's like 45 to an hour from Tampa, but it's just a really small place, and I feel like it's no growth there.
Yeah, like everyone's stuck.
Yeah, everybody is stuck. It's no type of luxury living.
Okay.
So waking up every day, you're not getting any scenery.
No motivation.
No motivation. So I like Atlanta for that reason, right? I can just wake up and see motivation. And I need that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious because, like, obviously I'm a white guy. And I don't think there's like a strong white guy community where we're all helping each other out.
It is though.
You think so?
Yes, Atlanta got it's a lot of white, well-to-do people too. Yes.
So how's it been for you? Because like I think there's two sides of it. So like one on like when you say I want to move to Atlanta for the Black excellence, like do you think there's kind of a need for you to just be more like when you say Black excellence, what does that look like for you? And like why do you think you reside in that so well?
Just Black people living in mansions.
Yeah.
Driving nice cars. Even the jobs, right?
Yeah.
Just working on decent jobs, like a lot of Black lawyers and doctors, right?
Yeah.
Just living a luxury lifestyle.
And do you think that this is kind of the generation where we're going to see a lot of that grow?
I don't.
Why do you think that?
I think this generation is from where because what you just told me about the young kids in the masterminds.
Yeah.
I don't know any of those kids.
Really?
No, all the kids I know are stuck, just in poverty, and they don't even realize it.
Like they don't, like do you think a lot, because this is, I mean obviously everyone has social media companies, so I think we can go a little into this. Like do you think what the younger generation is consuming is making or breaking them?
I think the music definitely plays a part, but I actually think it's the parents and the upbringing.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Like what do you think's missing?
I think parents don't have enough information and knowledge for themselves to be able to guide the kids where they need to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like one of the things I think you and I both were pretty open about when we first met was like how crazy it is that you can make money on your phone.
Right. People don't know it though. Like I'm saying, where I'm from, it's a completely different world. They think like they can't believe that I'm actually like they can't grasp what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Right. They don't even know. Like I tell some people to follow me on YouTube, they don't know what YouTube is. Yeah. So I'm like, it's really eye opening.
Yeah.
Like they just know Facebook.
So I mean, like you're sourcing. I mean, like let's think about it this way. We met on Facebook.
Right.
So you literally just hit me up. I think you said you were like, we need to work together. I need better content. And I'm like, who is this lady?
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, well, let's set up a time to talk. But like for all those out there, let's say they somehow get hit with this reel. Like, what would you tell them about you can make money on your phone?
You can make so much money on your phone. So I feel like over the last maybe 6 years, I've only made money on my phone.
Yeah.
Like that's it. I just use my phone, Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Like it is. I mean, of course you have to grow your audience though. So and I was telling my boyfriend the other day like, because I don't want anybody to think like I'm making. I don't really care what they think, but like I'm not making the videos for like recognition or anything. But it's to put the message out there. Like people need to know what you're doing so they can spend money with you. So I tell people that I coach, even like hairstylists or makeup artists, you need to create more content so it can get around, like so the world can know what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
Even my friend, I got a friend, he's a chef. I'm like, make videos and record yourself while you're cooking food and post it.
How hard was it for you to start? So when you made the decision, because obviously you were doing it a little bit before we started working together, how hard was it for you to make that like I'm gonna create content decision and then not care what people think?
It was definitely. It's been something I've been putting off for years, right?
Like how many years are we talking here?
10 years. Yeah. So I was doing the weight shavers in 2013.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. So I would never do videos then, but I was paying other people to do videos for me.
Okay.
So I was kind of like behind the page, right?
Yeah.
But I felt like if I would have been the face of it then, it would have been bigger than what it was. Because people want to see you doing it.
Yeah.
Right? Especially with something like that. Okay, I'm selling body shaping garments. They want to see me waking up, exercising, eating healthy, wearing my garment. I wasn't doing that because I just couldn't get into it.
Yeah.
Right? So I get what people tell me now. I got friends that have businesses and they're like, oh yeah, I'm not getting on the camera. I'm like, you kind of got to.
Yeah.
Like in 2024, you gotta get in front of the camera.
Do you think you would have even DM'd me if you didn't see a video of me talking?
I'm trying to remember the video that I found or what did I see?
Was it me talking at local?
No, it wasn't that. That wasn't the video I seen. I think I don't remember what video. No, that wasn't the video I seen though.
Okay. Was it just me talking in the office probably?
I think so. I think it was just like one of your videos talking about content creation or like social media. And I'm like, okay. And I went to your page and I think I went to somebody else's page, like who you were working with.
Yeah.
And I'm like, these are the kind of videos I need.
Interesting.
Yeah, like these are the videos I need. And then I think I found your Instagram, and I start like looking through other people that you like. I could tell it was the same kind of style. I'm like, this is what I need.
Interesting.
Yeah. Then when I talked to you, because I didn't know you do the whole everything.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, he's just gonna make my videos cool, whatever. I'll have to figure the rest out. That's close enough. But the whole one-stop shop was.
So your mom made this joke the other night. She was like, I told Ashleigh I liked her post, and she's like, what are you talking about? So like, I'm curious from your perspective, like, is it weird for you to kind of just post and ghost, and then all of a sudden see your own page posting when you know it's not you?
Yes, it is. It'd be funny. I'm like, hold on, what? I didn't post that. One of my friends just told me the other night, because he was asking me about it. I was telling him, like, I got somebody who I'm working with who's doing all my social media, and he was like, okay, that's good to know, because every time I see you post and I write you, and I'm like, okay, I know she just seen me text her. I'm like, no, it don't be me. Yeah.
So I'm getting you in trouble.
Yeah, so I'm like, no, it don't be me. He's like, okay, that's good to know. So,
yeah.
And that's good, though, because I actually have, like, I get, like, anxiety when people are just, like, calling or texting me. So now I'm just like, no, I'm not on social media. I don't have my phone.
Yeah.
So they can't.
Someone else is doing it.
Yeah.
So there's almost a layer, because I think I'm curious of this. I know you brought it up in 2024. You want to step a little bit away. That's not saying you're not going to make content. That's not saying you're not going to show more of what you're doing. Mm-hmm. But, like, for you, how do you manage, like, your own consumption? Let's not say anything we're doing together. How do you manage, like, is my timeline even healthy?
Like the content I'm putting out?
No, the content you're watching every day.
Well, so the conversation we had when you were like, about deleting people, no hard feelings. Like, I've been cleaning my page up.
How's it feel?
I've been so good, better, right? I'm still, every day if I go down my timeline, I just delete.
Why do you think so many people, like, they could watch a video of one of their, let's say, high school classmates. Mm-hmm. They could complain to their partner right there, I can't stand when he posts this, but still choose to follow on it. Why do you think so many people can't chop that off?
Because I think people like drama or like negativity, or they get a kick out of, just, I don't follow her. I'm not friends with anybody I dislike on social media. But I think some people, they're actually obsessed with those people. Like, they like those people too much, and they like those people.
Yeah, and then it's this never-ending cycle of I like hating it,
right?
So I'm gonna keep
they can't figure it out.
Yeah, so what I always tell everyone out there is, if you look at your timeline, ask yourself 3 questions: have I talked to this person last year, phone call or in person? Do I like what they post? Does their post actually help my life? And if you can't answer yes to any of those, like, you've got to chop them. And this doesn't mean if you saw them at the grocery store, you're not going to say what's up and talk to them. It's not that dramatic. But the reality is, every day, like, not many people read books. But if you spent 2 hours reading a book you hated, you'd be a probably miserable person. But we don't think that way about our phone.
Right. Yeah, no, it's aggravating seeing the nonsense. So I've been deleting.
Yeah. Okay, that's a solid one. So what do you think it would be like for all of your friends? Do you think, because I see this personally all the time, like, if you look at someone scrolling on TikTok, I mean, it is this. So it's killing their attention.
See, I don't even like being around those people.
Yeah.
I'm not around people that do that.
Yeah.
I can't take it.
Oh, like, I think my whole generation's doing that.
Yeah, so my little sister is like that. Or my daughters, right? But I have to remember, these are 16-year-old kids, right?
Yeah.
So, but my little sister, when she's of age, she shouldn't be doing it. But I tell my mom, I can't sit around somebody who's scrolling all day.
Yeah. So one of the craziest things about my business is, everyone always asks me, like, how'd you pick your masterminds? Like, how'd you do these things? The reality is, I would just talk to Katie about what I wanted our business to be, and I let the best advertiser win. Okay. So one of the craziest ways that I used my phone was chop all the BS off, like, get those people off your timeline. But then understand, like, if you're going to go an entrepreneur, let's say, or just sales or something where you're going to make more money than a 9 to 5, there are people out there that will teach you how to do it to a T. I mean, Ashleigh's a person, if you're looking to get into real estate investing, like, she gives a lot of information out for free, and then even in a paid course, it's probably still a little undervalued. So the reality is, like, you can find that information out there. But, like, for you, how did you start going from, let's say, your phone just being this weird thing where you talk to your friends to, like, oh, I'm getting mentors, oh, I'm in masterminds? Like, how did you start that process?
So, again, I've always been into, like, making money on my phone, right?
Yeah.
I think, 2020, maybe being in the house for COVID.
Yeah.
I think do you think that's when coaching kind of, like, blew up, maybe?
So, I think it made a lot of people scared, because reality was, like, no matter what state you were in, everyone was like, this is 2 weeks. And then there was like week 3 where we were like, this is not 2 weeks. And so for me, like when I used to have to try to sell social media back in 2017 or 2018, I mean, it was snake oil. Like no one believed in it. They don't even, I'm not even on my phone. But then what happened with COVID was this wild, we're all on our phones. And so I think what happened is a lot of people who maybe they were really hot in their own market. So like let's say in Cleveland, I have a bunch of clients here, I'm working with them. What it made a lot of people realize is like, oh, I can serve the world. Because the reality is like you and I didn't even meet until I think 4 phone calls after. So we were DMing first. We had several phone calls, a Zoom, and then I shook your hand in real life. So the reality was we actually had a value exchange before ever seeing each other in real life.
So yeah, I think it was kind of COVID, right? Being in the house, because the first like group or mentorship that I actually ever joined was recession proof, right? It was due to COVID and being in the house, and I don't know if that's what why he came up with the recession proof, but that's what made me join. COVID and thinking about recession, I'm like, okay, let me do something about good stuff, and that's how I joined that group, and that showed me the importance of being in like a mentorship program, and I started looking for others. How
scary was it to actually go like, ooh, pay the money right now?
I was ready because I went to an in-person event. And so I went to the in-person event. It was like $500, and it was so good. It was so good. I was ready to pay. It was really like I learned a lot. So I'm like, okay, this is it. And I had seen like a lot of other people coaching and teaching, but it's just nothing that kind of grasped me, right? But I went to that in-person event. It was really, really good. I signed up like the same day.
Okay, so you were ready to go.
I was ready.
So you didn't overthink it?
No, not at all. It was there. So, and it was worth it. Very worth it. It was really, really worth it. And then I'm like, okay, I want more. Like I need to do this again, but like on another level.
Yeah, a little bit up.
Right, and that's how I found mine.
Yeah, what's it like working with that guy? Because I see his reels probably every morning, and then I realize, okay, I'm still sitting in bed, and this guy's yelling at me. I need to get up and work.
Right. Just watching him I watched him for days on YouTube. And it was just, I had never heard anything like it. I'm like, this is different. Like, nobody talks like this. The message, the whole Bible, success, like, it was different, right? So, I'm like, this is it. Like, this is what I want. So I actually went at the recession proof. They had like a yearly convention, and he was one of the speakers. So I'm like, okay, it was in Vegas. He was one of the speakers, and he did his offer or whatever at the end on stage, and all these people signed up. And I'm like, that's not the program I want. Like, that's
why do you say that?
Honestly, from the people that were signing up for that one, I'm like, no, those aren't the people I want to be in the group with. It's different people that he coaches, right? So I'm like, those aren't the people. Like, so I figured out that wasn't. He has like different level programs. So that wasn't the program. It was actually in a circle that I needed to be in, and so I joined the inner circle. It's $155,000, and it was worth it though. Like people couldn't believe that I was like.
So to anyone out there who's thinking like, I don't have $155,000 to pay someone, like for you, like obviously there's a return on that. So like there's a whole change. Like to anyone that, let's say they're already decided, I'm going to be a business owner. How do you decide to pay to work on yourself? Where there is sometimes no tangible evidence that it was worth it, but you know in your core it was.
So first, it was the results, right? So that's what people got to think about, the result. Think about the results you're going to get. So even if you wanted to join my program, if you want to be a real estate investor, you're just paying for that speed, like to hurry up and purchase your first home. Right? So I think people got to not think about the money, that the investment they're making, think about the result, the return on the investment. What you going to get on the back end. So if you got a person, even when I joined you, like I seen, like look, we made $100K quick, right? So it was worth it. Like the money I spent, it's been worth it. So I think people got to think about the result they're going to get instead of the investment they're making.
Yeah, and I think time is one thing that a lot of people who maybe are on the sidelines, that's a variable I see a lot of people neglect. You know, oh, I'll do social media in 2024, or I'm going to pay for coaching when I'm ready.
No, you don't really have that time. People tell me all the time, like, oh yeah, I'm going to start investing next year. I think I'm going to get a house in 2. I'm like, what are you?
And what do you hear when they say that?
You're not ready, or you're not ready. I don't try to convince people anymore, but sometimes I will ask them just because I'm curious to hear that answer. So I'm like, why would you wait till next year when you can get started now? Just to hear, because I'm curious, why would you really wait till next year?
Yeah, I think for me, so I made that excuse with one coach, and I feel, Dan, if you're out there listening, dude, I know, I did that. But the reality was, I think the hard part about it is sometimes a lot of people don't actually love themselves enough to make that risk.
Right. They don't believe in themselves enough.
Yeah. Because that's what was hard, is like when you see someone with testimonial, right. Another client that looks like you, another client that looks like you, and you're thinking to yourself like, okay, this isn't an accident that they're hitting all these people, but I think a lot of times we get that fear where it's like, oh, I need to save my money. But the reality is that money's not doing anything.
Right. No. And I've learned to just, you gotta really spin it to keep you coming back. Like, spin it. You'll get it back.
I met a few very interesting people. They talk about money as though it's energy. It's not a dollar amount. It's literally just an energy. And if you don't understand influx, outflux, you'll get stuck and you'll get these imbalances. And it's crazy to me because like, doing what I do, I meet a lot of people that they've made the money, but then they come to me and I just ask them some easy question like, oh, how do you think people perceive you online? And you could swear I'm like the first counselor they talk to in their life. They break down. They don't even know how to process that question. And so it's crazy to me that, some people can make the money but not be happy. So like for you, how do you think all of the businesses you're doing, like how does it lead to a life that you actually want?
Because it's really not, I'm not saying it's not about the money because it's always about the money, obviously. But I want everybody around me to be able to enjoy it too, though.
Yeah.
That's my main thing. I need my friends and my family. Yeah. That'll make me happy. If we all can just be together to enjoy it, enjoy life, whatever it is, like just if we all can be together.
So what was like a low moment where that wasn't there? Like what's something that if a lot of people look at you now and they see you successful, like obviously they know what that looks like. What was a moment that was so low for you that everyone out there could go, damn, like she actually made it through that?
Oh, I'm trying to, which time? And you know what? I hate like I watch people's stories on YouTube all the time and they talk about their, hard times and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, damn, that's it. But, because I think it's became so normal. Like when you grow up in something or it's kind of like your norm. Like, you don't really look at it as something so bad until you get older and look back and see other people like, dang, they didn't go through that? Like, okay, I didn't know that was... So I think I've got so accustomed to like so many things that weren't good, but I didn't know it wasn't good until like now in life.
Yeah.
Like I lost a lot of close people to me. Yeah. Like my dad. My dad died in prison, right?
How old were you?
I was 11. So he went to prison when I was 2 or 3, and he died in prison when I was 11. So and my daughters, their dad is in prison.
Yeah.
So it's that's like a horrible cycle, right?
Yeah.
So even just thinking about that all the time, like, damn, like I really made that same mistake and put them through the same thing, right? Yeah. So just thinking about that is, my brother, I lost my brother to cancer 2 years ago.
Sorry, yeah.
Right, so I didn't ever think I was going to be okay again after that.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I thought I was going to die too, literally.
Because there's no control there.
None, and that's what really woke me up, like, damn, there's nothing I can do. Like, nothing I can do to fix that, right? I don't know. So those.
So when you think about all those moments, like those are so low. So like anyone out there who might be like, I can't do what Ashley's doing because I'm suffering. Like Ashley's been through it.
I had a girl write me. I was doing like a class or something on Father's Day, and she was like, "Hey, I want to sign up for your program, but I lost my dad, and it's like she had been lost her dad, and she was like, it's Father's Day, so I'm just going through it right now." I'm like, listen, I lost my dad too, so you signing up or not? Like that's not an excuse, Yeah. So I don't think I can't think of excuses anybody can tell me that'll make me kind of like feel sorry for them.
Yeah. Do you think a lot of people almost wear those as a reason not to because they haven't processed the pain they went through?
I think they just use those as excuses.
Yeah.
Like it's just a good. They think it's a good excuse.
Yeah.
Like people tell me they're single moms. I'm like, yeah, me too. My baby dad's not around. So
yeah.
It's not.
So you powered through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. So what is today? Today's the 15th. The 13th marks the anniversary. So I had a best friend. We worked our first 3 jobs together. Okay. So we worked at a grocery store. We, worked at Panera together, and then we worked manual labor. And we would talk all the time about, he wanted to basically run in government. I always talked about wanting to run a business. And he took his own life 6 years ago. And it was very interesting to look at our whole social group, how it changed after that. So that happens on a Tuesday. the next day his dad invites all of us over. He wants to talk to us. So it's like me, 3 of his closer friends. And what's crazy is when you have someone around, you know what they say to your face, and you don't know what they say behind your back. And so Tristan's dad goes around and he's starting to talk to all of us. And he goes to me and he goes, yeah, Tristan thinks you're wasting a lot of potential and you need to start that damn business already.
Oh my God. Yeah, you had to start a business.
Yeah. And so it's one of those moments where I could have completely bitched out.
Right.
I could have been like, this is too hard for me. I don't want to like rub it the wrong way. I don't want to fail, because if I fail, then I'm failing him. But the reality is, a lot of my friends they didn't do well after that. And I think we all kind of got in this stuck moment where it was like, I really have to make a choice. Like, I can follow that path. And, it's kind of crazy as I think about this right now, because I've never really talked about it. But the last time I saw him, it was at a gym at 10 p.m. I forgot my headphones in the gym, and he was magically in there.
Oh.
And we ended up talking about, what do we want to do with our lives? And what was crazy is, in the last conversation, he told me how much he was pissed at everyone around him because what he wanted to do did not get their approval.
Oh, so nobody supported it.
No, they didn't think it was the right choice for him. And so what I quickly learned, it's a terrible story, but the reality is he wasn't living for himself.
Right.
And
we talked about that earlier.
Yeah, and when you don't live for yourself, you're going to struggle, and sad things like that can happen. And so, I know we talked about a lot today. We got pretty personal, but the reality is actually, like, this was awesome for my first podcast. Like, yes. I can't thank you enough.
This was like my first interview. So, yeah.
Hey, we did it.
Yes.
All right, so, hey, we'll come up with a name soon. We'll have a podcast that's actually legit, but thank you all if you made it this far. That's episode 1.
That was good.
Yeah.
That was quick.
Very well done.